Welcome to Series 33, everyone. We are sorry it's taken a bit longer than normal to release this episode. Life has been quite a lot this last week, so hopefully this next week is less hectic in order to give us time to put the episode out at our normal time. But before we get to this episode, and to not have you wait much longer, let's get to some announcements first.
First up, if you are listening to this in the US on the day we're releasing, before 8 p.m., you may still have time to get out and vote if you haven't yet. If it's the case, feel free to stop listening right now. Get out there to vote if possible. This is such an important election. If it's too late, however, hopefully your day is going well. You could ignore this first announcement. Also, if you early voted, if you're like me and you're extremely tired of getting all of these texts saying, can we trust you to vote? And I'm like, I did it a month ago.
Yeah.
Also, hello to everyone in the future. I hope that it's brighter.
Seriously.
Please. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway. Next up, I'm actually very excited to be diving into my campaign for A Tale of Twinkle and Awe. It's going to be myself and 5 players running a solar punk story using the Chimera RPG system. We're going to be blending superheroes, magical girls, and fantasy genres. We just finished our session 0 this last Friday. And we're going to be doing our first session on November 13th, which is also Friday. So I really wish we would have been able to get some spooky content put together, but, you know, it's a very punk-filled world that we're building. So, it should be a lot of fun. You could also check out, Amorez. They are doing a live stream campaign, in the Fridays between my sessions. You can find them on the Utopia channel. They're doing a blend of superheroes and fantasy. And their next session is this Friday, November 6th at 8 p.m. So check them out at capeandblade.chimera.games and check mine out at twitch.chimera.games.
Finally, we're both on the verge of burnout lately, as I think so many people are. Yep. I think this is not a unique situation. With the state of the world in all aspects of life, and also some other things that we have going on. Hey, everyone, it's depression season for Amelia. We're both feeling a little rough around the edges. We are trying to find ways to mitigate that for the sake of our health, because ultimately, if we're not healthy, we can't make the show at all. So we're doing our best here. It means we have to make some sacrifices here and there from time to time. We really wanted to be able to do a panel for a Catech Online. It's coming up this weekend. I know there are lots of great games and panels and things happening. We really wanted to do it. Unfortunately, we're just not going to be able to. We didn't even get our stuff submitted. Yeah. We're just don't have the spoons to be charismatic and fun. So I really hope that those of you attending have a really great time. I'm really sorry that we're not able to do this. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I opened the form. I started filling out a couple things, and then my brain was like, forms? No, thank you. And I just never got back to it. So
yeah, and I totally forgot that it was I've been saying this to everybody, and everybody at work has been saying it too, that I don't know where October went.
Yep. It's got 31 days. You think it would have lasted longer.
Right? So I think that just kind of flew right past, and I didn't even think about it until I was like, oh no, it's 3 days away.
That's so close. Yep.
Darn it.
Well, it is what it is. Life is weird right now, but you know, I think we'll get through it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what we're saying is take care of yourselves, you know, know your limits and try not to burn yourselves out as well. I think we'll get through this all together, one step at a time. But if things do go awry, we will keep you posted. And we'll keep working to bring a little bit of joy through these trying times.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I know that we're already putting out less content than we than we want to. But hopefully the stuff we're putting out is a good distraction and like a nice welcome reprieve.
Absolutely. Get you nice and relaxed.
Yeah. Without further delay, let's get on with this episode, which honestly is one of my favorites that we've ever recorded.
It's really fun. Yeah, definitely enjoy. Welcome to Character Creation Cast, a show where we discuss and create characters, the best part of role-playing games, with guests using their favorite systems. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan, and this episode, my co-host Amelia and I are excited to welcome back Grant Howitt and Chris Taylor, designers of the game we are covering today, Unbound, a universal world-building game from Rowan, Rook, and Decard.
Welcome back to Character Creation Cast. We are super excited that you could join us again.
We have another Kickstarter.
I know. I love getting those messages from you like, hey, we have a Kickstarter coming up.
Hey, do you want some hashtag content?
We would love hashtag content.
Please, can we have
you are
fun
now
again?
our most frequent guest on this show.
Yeah.
So you have beat out Rich Howard for his t-shirt that he wants to win so badly.
I expect some sort of medal.
Right?
Yeah.
I believe the rule is once you've been on 7 times, then you can get a free t-shirt.
Long service.
We've got to get more Kickstarters going, haven't we, Chris?
Yeah, write more
crank 'em
games.
out.
Come on.
Well, we're going for a while. So.
Yeah, I'm not really doing that many games.
No.
That catalogue's lacking.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and reintroduce you to everybody. Chris, can you tell us where we can find you, what kind of projects you're working on, all that kind of stuff?
My name's Chris Taylor. I'm probably best known for writing Spire, the expansions, and Heart, the most recent one. And I help Grant with his one-pagers every month. And I'm the Decard part of Rowan, Rook, and Decard.
How about yourself, Grant?
I'm the Rook part of Rowan, Rook, and Decard. The third part is my partner and Chris's business partner, Mary,
It's very complicated.
Yes. Well, we just thought we'd pick cool names. Like we'd use our character names rather than our real names because that way we might sound more like a law firm. But yes, I write role playing games. I write one-page role playing games, one a month. I also do more than one-page role playing games with Chris. I like to think of myself as a sort of fiery yang to Chris's somber yin, as he just slaps the bad ideas out of my mouth several times a day.
Yeah, try and keep these things at least vaguely cogent.
Yeah, you smack the chaff away, and we're left with delicious game design wheat. And you can find me on Twitter at GSHowitt.
Well, let's go ahead and get started on this. I'm super excited. This game is, like, you reached out, and I was like, this game is exactly Ryan's kind of trash. Like, this game was made for Ryan. Oh, well, it will be once we've touched it. I promise you that. No, this game is, like, exactly a Ryan kind of game. I sent him the link to the page on your website, too, and he went, oh, yes.
Gimme.
Yes.
What's in a game?
Yeah, well, we released Unbound 4 years ago now, I think.
About that, yeah.
And forgot to print any extra copies.
Oops.
Because we were new and young and fresh and didn't understand what was going on.
The world hadn't crushed us yet.
No, well...
It had begun its slow press.
Yeah, I think like it had begun the process. Like, definitely could hear the... of the big crusher coming down. But we're not dead yet in the industrial crushing machine of the world, and so we're going to do a reprint of it. We've also done a redesign. Mina McJander, who did Lancer and Voidheart Symphony and Legacy and all sorts of stuff, has done all the redesign on it. We've tightened up all the wording, but that's all rather unexciting. Chris, what is Unbound? What does it do?
It's So Unbound is the best session 0 you're ever going to have because you build a really exciting world together. Like you shape the classes, the world, everything that happens in it. And then you get to play that and see what happens, generally over fairly short games. And then you see the entire world again from another perspective as you can play over and over within that world and change how everything reacts. So in the play tests, we had one group play the previous group's children in the next part of the campaign.
Oh.
And things like that. They're built together in something called a Saga. So you do about 6 games and then start a new campaign in that world.
Oh, that's very cool.
It's generic, and that's not a very sexy word, but it's generic in as much as it emulates a genre, and that genre is punch.
It is very much a pulp game.
It's pulpy. It does a lot of it skews towards sci fantasy, we've found, and I'm not quite sure why. But generally it's like lots of big over the top cinematic combat. But also we were playing a lot of Secret World at the time, like a shed load of Secret World, and so the combat system is an MMO combat system. But not in a people will say bad things about it 4th ed style. No one's heard of it style.
All right, so we're gonna ask the actual questions on our sheet now.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Because I did write these for a reason. Usually we start with talking about the setting of a game, but this one doesn't have a setting. I want to ask, why did you choose to make a generic setting neutral collaborative world building game? Like, those are a thing now, I feel like. I mean, Genesis, and I've seen a lot of other kind of like sort of setting neutral games recently, but this was from a few years ago, before it was the sexy thing to do, other than GURPS, which we know you love. Why?
GURPS is so sexy.
It is. I believe one of my
GURPS
favorite
is like
quotes.
Honey running down a naked back.
See, one of my favorite quotes is from one of our recordings with you, where you said, GURPS is for people who fetishize calculators.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like,
It's sick.
that's fine.
It's perverse.
What you do in the privacy of your own home is fine. I'm not going to judge that.
I mean, even
bring it to
the
my
name
house.
itself sounds that.
So, Chris, I think Chris will agree with there's 2 answers to this. Which is fear and the other which is madness.
Yeah, honestly.
Which one do you want?
I'll take madness.
Yeah, sure.
So Grant and I were going mad. We were both suffering from depression. We were both in different countries, and we needed something to do. Honestly, like literally, like something collaborative that we could do. And so it got to the point like
We were both out of work at the time as well.
yeah. So should we write a game? Yeah, let's write a game. Like just mucking about, just putting some words together. And then it started to get really exciting and really good. Like impressively good, considering that we were literally just throwing words at a page and just doing whatever we thought was fun at the time. And it turned into Unbound, and it got out of hand, honestly, and kind of started our career, really.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Definitely started our company.
The fear answer was because up until I went to a creatives retreat in the jungles of Costa Rica in summer 2016, and had a drug-fueled experience staring directly into a bonfire, burning my fears. And then on the way back from that, I was like, oh, I could put a setting in a game. And I was too scared to put settings in games before. It felt a bit like being, I think I've talked about this on the show before, but like being trapped with someone and they're talking about their 12th level paladin.
Okay.
And wow, I had this character in the game, it was really cool, and he rolled the dice and he did 18 damage. And okay.
Your game was fun for you because you were there. I don't want to hear about it. It's an experiential thing. Like,
Exactly.
I don't care. I'm glad you had a great time. I don't care.
What you're telling me is a lie about a person who doesn't exist.
I say on a show where we create characters and make people listen to it.
They're free to leave anytime.
It's true. I'm not putting this in your ears. You downloaded this of your own free will.
And we'd love you for it.
I think there was some fear there about actually putting a setting in a game. So like Goblin Quest, the thing which I put out beforehand, is very loose. It has like setting tables and it has like paragraphs here and there and drawings, but it really isn't like, okay, here's what's going on. And we didn't it was like the next book we published was Spire, which of course we've been on the show for before, and which is mostly setting, even the mechanics are setting. Mm-hmm. And so Unbound was us. Unbound. I think the reason why we ended up with a universal game, a generic game, was because I was scared of putting a setting in, and because we started doing a Dungeons and Dragons game, and the things sort of spiraled out from there. We had sailors in it at one point. One of the classes was sailor.
It was. They just got a boat. That was their entire class.
I mean, what more do you need?
You can see the dreck we cut.
It turns out quite a bit, Amelia.
This is why you're the game designer and I'm not.
I mean, to be fair, they made it into Spire. If you're a knight in Spire, you can get a boat. So
yeah, that is one of the upgrades. I believe I picked one for my character. So yes, we did that, and it's very hard to sell a generic game or a world creation game because almost all RPG sales go through Kickstarter now. You have to sell people the concept of a game, the concept of a great session, and when people ask what's the game about, what sort of stories can we tell, you have to go, oh well, anything.
Because what do you want? Just tell me what you want, and then I'll give it to you. Just tell me.
We'll do a little dance. Can we have some money? And it was a real challenge to sell, and so we really struggled to. We did okay on Kickstarter, but it was a real struggle to catch people's attention with it. And I think now that we've got a much better understanding after 4 years of selling games, that the text of the book hasn't changed significantly, but we're able to say, oh, actually, here's what you can do with it, and we're a lot more confident about it now.
Very cool. All right. So then what do we need to play Unbound?
Cards.
Yeah, you need a little bit more to play than perhaps another generic game. You need a copy of the book because you need the rules in your classes. But each player, and the GM included, needs their own deck of cards that they're going to be using throughout the game.
Which will be ruined.
It will be ruined. You are going to write on the cards. Because it is both that deck is both your random number generator and your character sheet
and your hit points
and everything. It is all in one deck of cards. So buy yourself a cheap deck of cards with a lot of space on them and a good Sharpie, and you're away. You don't need dice. You don't need anything else.
So my 22-year-old pristine Sailor Moon branded cards probably shouldn't be used for this sort of thing.
Yeah, you've made a poor choice. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could do a Sailor Moon style game. We could do a magical transforming girls game.
You know, I have zero problems with that.
Well, let's keep that in the back of our minds as we go forward, because it is possible to do magical transforming girls very easily in Unbound.
Okay. I want this game even more now.
I mean, I feel like Ryan was already sold on this, but
you don't have to sell me more.
He can single-handedly back this Kickstarter at this point.
Oh, you have a special.
He doesn't need that new house he was going to buy.
No. We've got a series of beautiful dresses and bright lights.
Yeah, I can live on the street for a little. It's fine.
We put you on a lazy Susan, have you spin around while you get changed.
There you go.
You mentioned a little bit that this game does sci-fi and fantasy and punching. What kind of stories and themes do you want people to explore in this game? What more do you need?
So when you're talking about like what stories do people explore, like it's really hard because in playtesting we've had everything from a sort of hard-bitten, gritty Mad Max game. Some of our playtesters were whales. They were eco-terrorist whales.
Yeah, like you do.
Our personal playtest was we were wizards on a school trip being sent away to collect the insurance on them when they crashed the van. It tells all sorts of different stories, but the point is whatever story it is, it has high action.
It has combat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it needs to be something bombastic and over the top. This is not a game for like a Veronica Mars level investigation.
No.
Your class is 99% combat based. The idea is that combat is snappy, fun, and interesting, and everything just kind of falls out of whatever you want it to be. So as long as you like punching stuff, you're all right.
Yeah, I think as well. Considering that the dramatic scenes and combat scenes, battle scenes, sorry, are mechanically very different from one another. And so, like, it lends itself to, well, honestly, like magical transforming girls. Anything where there's a hard break where now it's time for combat. So, like, mech games are quite popular. We had a game of Unbound, which became a one-pager, we were all Regency ladies. We were between the ages of 14 and 19, getting ready to be married, and of course we were being trained in the proper art of giant robot combat. Oh. And so we had our own sort of big robots, and we had to take them into war against the French.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
So yeah, like, action stories, very much so.
Okay. So this is kind of similar. What do characters do in this game?
Action.
Yeah, action.
Punching.
Yeah, like, it's very difficult. Also kicking or slicing or whatever you fancy. Yeah, but it's kind of difficult to say what characters do because of the fact that you build the entire world and the game in session 0. It is literally that thing of whatever you want. So if you want to tell a story about people defending their homeland, sure, you can do that as long as they're doing it with violence in some fashion at least. If you want to tell about spaceship battles and the bleakness and isolation of space, cool, do that alongside spaceship fights. It's all about the world you build.
We don't have any scale. It's a big challenge in writing it as well, but the scale is a character makes an attack, and your attack can be cool. I send forward a legion. Like it's all quite abstract at the mechanical level, but I think what characters do is all key to the experience. Okay, to the advancement mechanic. And the way which advancement works is you come up with, we call them fates, but the preferred name is scenes we'd like to see from Whose Line Is It Anyway? But a fate is something which will happen to your character. And so you can think of it like a character goal, but more often we'd much rather have it like, I get in an argument with my ex-husband. Could be a character goal. And then you come up with one, and the rest of the group comes up with one, and when you do both of them, you advance.
Okay.
So what characters do is really, really dictated by the group, and advancement too is dictated by the group. So you end up with this like really super focused game, but also has a really nice mechanic for side stories, because in terms of relationships, in terms of non-combat stuff, like most of the fates we have aren't about combat. They're like the combat's there as an exciting thing to do, and then the fates sit alongside that. And because a bit like in Apocalypse World, where people pick out a stat they want you to use, in this, the rest of the table says, okay, here's what we want to see your character doing. And that means that they're infused and excited when it's happening, generally.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, anything. You can see why it's hard to sell.
Yeah, one of the fates that I've seen a character have in playtesting is I want to die. Like, they wanted a scene where they die. And that's part of their advancement mechanic.
Interesting.
So, they already know they're going to come back, but it's a scene in which that character experiences death in some fashion.
See, the weird part of me wants to push this to the limit and do, microscopic tardigrade magical girls.
100%. It'll handle that.
But I love that it can handle that. Right?
Yeah, it's just I think the drama at microscopic level is hard for us to imagine.
Yeah,
being
the conversation is bland.
Yeah,
but you got 6 legs. Yeah, it's nice.
You talk about each one of your 6 legs. It could do tardigrades. I think that it might be hard to tell a story about tardigrades regardless of system, but hopefully you can make it work.
Yeah. As long as they're sentient enough.
Yeah. Okay, you have to be sentient.
Oh, plus they're magical. We're fine.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, they can just get bigger and go to a malt shop or something.
Yeah, it covers all the bases.
The thing that has come up now several times in this recording and before when we've talked about this game is that it's difficult to sell people on it. So I'm going to ask you now, what is unique? What makes this special? Why should I buy this game that's actually make up your own game? Here, you do the work.
Throwing the hardballs here. The reason why you should buy it, as Chris said earlier, it's the best session series you'll ever have. And we don't say that lightly. We've really tried to make something which feels special and engaging and exciting. And it's not like Genesis. It's not like, what's the other one? What's the Monty Cook one? Cypher.
Cypher system.
Yep.
It's not like Cypher, in as much as those are really good if you know, like, oh, I want a cyberpunk game. So you're going to take that and then take the bits of the world that work together and then write your own bits and sort of have that. But there's modules and various things you can work out. You're not supposed to have an idea in mind for a setting when you come to this game. Everyone turns up and pitches it together. And it's that collaboration, which I've not seen outside of something like Microscope or like some really broad GMless games, like A Quiet Year as well. Of these really broad GMless games, you have the capacity to have that collaboration. And we've not seen anything that does it like this in a more focused traditional RPG style.
Yeah, neither of those are particularly punchy games.
No, they're kind of introspective and somber. I don't mean somber as in sad, but like they're slower and they're exploring themes. Whereas this is more like, well, I am going to batter you to death with a spaceship. Like I'm going to use it like a baseball bat and hit you with it. And that's the thing, right? Like when you sit down with your friends, you're going to sit down and have zero clue what you're going to play that evening. And you will walk away with an amazing setting that you are exciting and raving to play in. And then you get to do that. And then you get to break that setting while you're in it. Because you're, as I said earlier, you're looking at maybe 6 games with the characters you currently got. And then you kind of zoom out a little bit if you want to. Just look at your world as a whole and go, cool. So we've changed the world. We've waged war on this country, let's say. We were doing a military campaign. Let's play the next one during that time period, but as the people we invaded. Let's see how that happens. Let's see what happens to the druids in this forest over here, because obviously war burns forests. War has industry and all sorts of dangerous things going on. What was their look at this world? Or what was this like 10,000 years ago, 10,000 years in the future, what if everything's flooded? And you can just throw all this stuff at it and it'll stick because the scale is changeable, because you can do magical girl tardigrades or you can beat somebody to death with a spaceship. You just change the scale and it doesn't matter to the rules what the scale is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I'm so excited for this.
I will warn you, one of the worst things about doing the session 0 is if you then don't play the game afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got this bundle of potential.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the perfect state of a role-playing game. That's why I love this podcast.
That's what we're here for, is like we never have to like suffer the consequences of any of the decisions we've made.
But like every time I do it, I want to get mucky in that setting, right? I want to be up to my knees in it.
There are 2 types of people, apparently.
To dirty these perfect characters with like role-playing. Mechanics? No, thank you, sir.
I mean, technically, that's where our fan fiction is for.
Yeah, I'm doing some world building with one of my friends right now for a game that we plan on playing. And the whole time we're like, okay, but what point do we stop? And we're like, okay, now we have to have game. Like, at what point are we like, okay, we can't keep like making all of these decisions. We have to sit down and play in it. And we're like, maybe next week. Maybe we'll just keep talking about it instead.
Yeah.
So the history of Unbound, it was originally released in 2016. What else can you tell us about the history of this game?
We started.
Pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I mean, we started it with a Kickstarter, which funded fairly well. I mean, we were fairly unknown at that point.
Did all right, yeah. And
it funded 2 expansions, Cyberpunk and Urban Horror, both of which have now been rolled into the book. So they're just standard. They're an appendices in the book now. And all they add to the game is, as we'll see later, they add extra traits to the game. And a load of new monster hierarchies and just some extra little bits that plug into the game. You can use them or not use them depending on what's going on. And then we've had fairly regularly since 2016, people going, yeah, where can I buy Unbound from? I want a physical one, not a PDF. We're like, well, we'll sort it. We've got other projects. We're doing Spire. We're doing Heart. This is happening. And it kind of got to this point where, like, actually, we should just do a really, like, simple, cheap Kickstarter. Just like, almost like a pre-order, right? Like, we're funding the print run. We're not doing stretch goals. We're not adding to the book. We're not doing anything that could extend the release time. As soon as the Kickstarter finishes, we press buy on as many books as we need, plus some. And then as soon as they're printed, they go out. And that's really really exciting because it means that we, hopefully we can get these into people's hands within months rather than an extended
There's always less
period
things
of
to
time.
go wrong when you don't have, I watch some Kickstarters and they have stretch goal upon stretch goal upon stretch goal. And I'm like, that's a delay and a delay and a delay. And, and they're very cool things, but I'm like, I'm not going to get this book for 3 years.
No, everything in this book was written 4 years ago. We've tightened it. We've made it prettier. Mina Majanda's done wonderful stuff laying it out. So it's actually really passable now. Because there's a fair amount of information in the book. And we were guessing at that point, honestly, as to what was good and what wasn't. And now we actually know. So it's all fixed on that front. But other than that, it's there. And that brings up to now.
Oh, it's lovely.
All right. Well, let's jump into the actual nitty gritty details. What terms and stuff do we need to know before we start playing this game? Or
should we take these in turns, Chris? And I read down the list.
Sure.
Okay, so the first and the most important campaign thing which you'll pick is the core. And the core of your character. So your character is built up of 3 parts, and we'll get onto what they are in a bit. But cores are we have warrior, magi, zealot, divine. What's it called? Devout. Thank you. Pact bound,
outlaw,
and outlaw. These are kind of the group concepts for your group. They'll ask some questions about the setting, and then they'll also give you a recovery power, which is how you heal. And so the outlaw one lets you hurt people and run away, and the magi one lets you sort of summon magic shields and stuff. And then Chris, roll.
The roles are the things most easily identifiable as classes. You're looking at protector, warden, striker, deadeye. They're these iconic roles that are filled by groups in RPGs. So the striker, as you can imagine, is a close-up damage dealer. The deadeye is a ranged character. The protector heals and the warden defends. And they give you the real basics of your class, of your character. So they tell you what how good you are at hitting things. They tell you how healthy you are. They give you a couple of basic powers. And then you modify those with the traits.
And traits are, we've got 10 to 12. We have quite a few in the book. And these are your character's trick, your character's quirk. So they're things like fire or spirits or shadows or mighty. And they generally inform your character's style, and you get a power and a question out of those as well. And so from those, depending on what you pick in terms of traits, it can really change the scope of the campaign in terms of where I've got shadow and spirit and transform, as opposed to a game which has mighty and dirty fighting and fire. And so you can tell the GM what you're interested in, and then the questions will sculpt the game.
Yeah. I'm not sure what path is.
That's not in the game. Foundation is, though.
I can't try to remember what foundation is.
The skills.
Yeah. So the foundation is a sort of skill set bundle, basically. It tells you your out of combat abilities and kind of how you interact with the world at a base level. It's not used as much as the previous ones because the previous ones are combat based. But it's still an important focusing point of your character.
It's very similar to aspects in Fate or backgrounds in 13th Age. Next up, we've got Fates, which, as we discussed earlier, Fates are the scenes we'd like to see, which will advance your character, or we'll pick some out for each other to see what we're excited in doing.
And then you've got Factions and Twists, which is a thing for the GM to worry about, basically. During the world creation, the GM will be listening to what everybody's saying, and after they've all helped build the world, and kind of name a couple of the factions as being very important. Actually, I can work with this horrible Zaibatsu company in this cyberpunk world we've made. Let's look at them specifically. Let's work out who their figurehead is. And twists are things that they choose early to be able to affect battlefields and change the game rules a little bit.
And then scars are permanent injuries you pick up on your cards. Scars are when you go out of action, you draw a card and you write a scar on it, and that lessens the value of the card. And then if you scar a scar, you die, which is exciting.
Oh,
ooh,
yeah, that is the death mechanic. And the last one we've got here is a saga. A saga is simply a micro campaign, basically. If you imagine a Dungeons and Dragons campaign in the traditional mold is like a years long thing, it's very expansive. You take characters from 1 to 20. Well, imagine that a saga is levels 1 to 3. And then after you've done that, you basically throw those characters away and get some new ones. And then, as I said earlier, you play those in the same world and you modify your world a little bit.
Wait, no. Adventure is that. Saga's everything plugged together.
Yes.
Yes,
it is.
It's been a while since we wrote it.
Yeah. Either way, it's about the campaigns and the breaking up of that and shifting through the different characters.
Okay. Very cool. Is that everything we need to know then before we dive in?
I think so.
Honestly, it is.
I will say for this episode, I'll be taking the GM role.
Okay.
All right.
So I won't be making a character, but I'll be doing the world creation stuff as well. Most of that will be handled from. Sorry, I'll be steering the world creation, but you'll be doing most of it yourselves.
I mean, you can build a character too if you really want.
Nice. Honestly, it helps if there's a GM around.
Right.
It helps having someone to steer the process. So,
I don't know if you're the person we want to leave in charge, though.
All right. Well, let's make some people.
All right.
Let's make some people.
And a world.
Let's make a place.
Oh, and a world.
Crucially.
What do we do first? Do we do people first or world first?
The first thing we do is Touchstones. We have a reference for this.
So while you're finding a reference, Grant,
Thank you.
so you say that, like, do we make people first or do we make the world first? Or you do them both simultaneously.
Ooh.
As you pick...
It's world first.
Well, you have to do both simultaneously.
Okay, cool.
You literally have to. Because each class, each role, core, trait, all of these things have questions attached to them. So you have to be able to answer those questions to fill out a little bit more of the world. So you kind of work out what the world is, like the broad strokes, and then as you go through, you drill deeper and deeper and deeper through the process.
First thing I'd like you to do is turn to page 20 of your PDFs. We hope we all have the same version together. And then what we're going to do, we're all going to draw a card. And so page 20 is the Touchstones. The Touchstones are 52 different phrases, which we thought would be useful to help generate an original world. What we're going to do, we're going to do this 3 times. So each time I want you to draw a card, tell me what you get, and then I'll write it down. And then of those 3 groupings of words, we're going to pick out the one which is calling to us most.
Okay.
I got demons.
Demons. I got jungles.
Let's see. I will pull a card. Jungles.
Draw again, I drew that one.
Okay. Fine. Let's see. Holy.
Holy. And Ryan.
And I got walls.
Walls. Demon, jungles. Demons, jungles, holy walls. So there's something there. That's
definitely something.
I can think of some few things in that.
Yeah, okay. Again.
Oh, we got to draw a second one, huh?
So as I said, we're going to do 3 groups of these.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to see which one's calling out to us to make a campaign
I
out
like
of.
it.
Prison.
I got sky, so that's already exciting.
Yep.
I got pirates.
Oh, here we go.
And I got corporations.
Oh,
Prison corporation sky pirates.
That's pretty good. We stole the flying jail. And one more.
Narcotics.
Wizards.
Here we go.
Demons?
Yes.
Wizards, narcotics, demons, and I got beasts. So, the 3 we have to play with, and I will say, we can also append all of these with and magical girls. If that's something which we want. I will say, I'm fine if Ryan plays a magical girl. I'm also fine if all of us play magical girls.
Here's the thing. I know nothing about the magical girl genre.
Me neither. I've seen 3 episodes of Cardcaptor Sakura. I'm sure I'll be fine.
Close enough, yeah.
I know that there's, like, outfits are important.
Yeah, you spin around and change and then you fight evil.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a wand or something.
There you go.
So the 3 concepts we have are demons, jungles, holy, and walls. Sky, prison, pirates, corporations. And demons, wizards, narcotics, and beasts. What are we feeling?
I'm really feeling this Sky Pirate Corporation prison thing.
Yeah.
It's got to be that.
It feels so good.
Yeah, like a big sort of shanty jail. Right, yeah, cool, okay, all right. Sorry, Demons, Jungles, Holy Walls.
Well, that would have been fun.
You would have made a fine film starring Paul Bettany, but not for now. So, what we have here is, what we're going to do now is pick a core. We can also pick sort of the core, like the base setting, whether it's fantasy, sci-fi, or urban horror, pulp, or superheroes. Those are the only kinds of role-playing games there are. But I think I'd like to leave that slightly open, and we can work out where we are in it, and we can sort of leave the overall, what's the word, time period, as it were, and magic use to a little bit later.
Yeah.
So the first thing we're going to do after that is pick cores. Now, what cores are, as we said earlier, the party concept, as it were, the group concept. Mm-hmm. And the ones we have to pick from are devout, people of faith who bring light to dark places. And that can be faith in the system or faith in a philosophy. It doesn't have to be a religious faith. Magi, experts on a quest for hidden knowledge. Your default D&D wizard is a magi, so is Indiana Jones. Outlaw, rogues fighting against the system. Pact bound, who are agents in service to an otherworldly power, so think like warlocks or angel summoners or like really weird urban horror stuff. Warrior, military operatives in active conflict. Now, to say military, it could also be paramilitary, but generally a battle for territory or something. Mm-hmm. And then wild, defenders of the natural places of the world, your druids, your eco-warriors, your whales, etc. I will say playing wild does allow you to play 6 wolves. You want to play 6 wolves. So those are the cores. Chris, you got any ideas?
Well, the most obvious one would be outlaw. Because we're in a world with pirates and I don't really fancy playing as the corporations. So that would be kind of neat. But we could also be warriors in using the sort of pirate ethos of fighting back against corporations who are taking up our airspace.
Like a proper, like, this is it, where we're clawing back.
Yeah, like Vive la Resistance rather than
okay.
I'm going to rob your shipping container.
Yeah.
So they're not, like, the pirates are not the corporation. This is not Pirates Incorporated.
I mean, it could be Pirate Incorporated.
I'd like to imagine
I'm just asking.
Each pirate ship is perhaps its own legally, like, distinct business.
They've got all their paperwork in order.
I quite like the idea that, like, people could buy stocks in your pirate ship, and then if you do well, they make more money.
But then you start having, like, pirate fantasy football.
Sure.
Oh, that works. A lot of gambling.
That's what D&D is.
Oh no, it is, isn't it? That's
so outlaw or warrior. I think those are both interesting takes. Amelia, anything?
I mean, I think outlaw works well for me.
Yeah, I think outlaw could work. I think outlaw is probably the one that makes the most sense.
I think so. Like outlaw focuses around a city. It focuses around like a single location, whereas warrior's bigger. But I quite like the idea of trying to steal the prison.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at a location, it can kind of be like, I mean, if you look at like the area that pirates actually operated in, it was tiny. And you kind of have that area of the Caribbean, but it's that area of the sky, I guess, if we got airships.
Yeah, and you could have like very tall oil rigs or something, which you could sort of dock to or what have you, like space elevators. We can work with that. Okay, cool. So there's going to be a few questions to ask about outlaws. So the first thing you need to do is, well, that's actually not be the first thing you should do. Here we are. Questions. Every player must answer, what is my crime? But what I'm going to ask you first is, the GM and each player should answer the following questions about the world. What's the name of our city and what's weird about it? So it's a flying city.
Yes.
It's a flying area. But I like to imagine that's not the weird thing. Like most places fly here.
Yeah.
What's unusual about the place that we find ourselves in? Is it Sky Jail?
It's too heavy. It's like lower to the ground than all of the other ones.
Oh, okay, and the ground is like gross and toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite nice, actually. You can get a nice sort of slum effect to it.
Yeah, my thought was also like Maybe it's tethered to a like encampment on the ground or a community on the ground for some reason.
How about it's tethered to a boat? So like not like a little rowboat, but like a sort of like a destroyer or some sort of research vessel or some kind of this massive thing which is trudging through these acid seas, and it's the sort of the connecting skyport of that.
Mm-hmm.
That works, yeah, because then we can go up and down and.
Mm-hmm. Are they pumping this toxic goo into the city for research, and that's why we're lower?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I like the idea that there's like most of it is just gross toxic goo, but there's pockets of useful things, or like there's this horrible monstrosity which we're going to go and kill and capture. Mm-hmm. And so that you sort of drag that back.
What if it's got like other liquids in it, but with different visibilities? So like there's like liquid petroleum, essentially like whatever airship fuel is. But I'm guessing it's like Leviathan blood or something.
That's brilliant.
There we go. And so you need something at the toxic ground level to be able to get the fuel source to run the airships at livable levels. And everybody on the ground level all has like, I don't know what time period, what sort of theme we're doing yet, but like hazmat suits.
Yes.
I'm getting like alternate near future.
I'm getting Waterworld.
Yeah, I don't want to get Waterworld.
No, but do you know what I mean?
I'm imagining Waterworld, but perhaps slightly sooner after the collapse. So there's still technology, there's still various other things which work, and there's still sort of echelons holding on, rather than just Kevin the Costner drinking his own.
Yes.
Sorry, his own urine. So what's the name? So there's this ship and this island, and I like the idea that they both suck. They're both terrible places. We need a cool name, and this is going to inform a lot of the rest of what we come up with. But I figure like
it's got to be a corporate name, right?
See, I think it's something that like is like flowery and like utopian.
Yeah, something like totally not
totally incorrect.
Yeah, and
like
it has to have
Sunrise
like
Inc.
comma incorporated at the end of it. Absolutely,
Right.
Yeah.
Halcyon Inc.
That's very dramatic.
That is very dramatic. It's also the main city in Masks.
Oh.
Halcyon City.
Damn.
It's a good word,
Masks. It's one of my top 5 words.
Providence.
Providence.
Yes.
Providence
we can have
Incorporated?
Providence and New
Divence.
Providence, which is the flying
Yes.
bit.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so Providence Incorporated. That is a good title for a campaign. Providence Incorporated. Yes, lovely. Okay. So aboard the SS Providence.
HMS?
HMS, yeah, I don't know, difficult. Whatever it wouldn't be Her Majesty, it would be her CEO.
The COO, there we go.
HCEO Providence.
The ship is the CEO.
Oh.
Although, no. Okay. What do we want? And what happens if we don't get it? So you're outlaws. You're on the wrong side of the law. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to steal? Or kill? Or farm?
So originally I had the idea that we were like actually like trying to rob all these different airships. But now I'm thinking what we're trying to rob is the fuel to keep everything afloat. Otherwise everything falls and sinks into the acid lakes.
I reckon, like, you could try and steal New Providence. So, like, you could try and, like, cut it off from the ship area and take it off as its own free colony. You could try and steal enough Leviathan blood to get an escape capsule out of there.
Or are we trying to steal the stuff that they brought up and get it off the Sky Island?
Yeah, okay, that works for me. Like you found a buyer. You found someone who's willing to buy this ridiculously valuable Leviathan guts.
I mean, I feel like there's the option of like, this is this corporation-owned ship, and we don't want to be owned by a corporation anymore, and we're just going to steal the whole ship.
Yeah, let's go big.
Yeah, like we've just made off with the entire thing.
We just want to steal all of New Providence.
They're gonna steal you're gonna steal the entirety of the flying section of Providence.
Yeah.
Cut that off, jettison it, steal as much fuel as you can, and then brand new colony. Brilliant. Love it.
Yeah. We're going to wait until we have all the fuel that we can get, and then...
Which is interesting, because that is... What we've done here is we're kind of starting to establish the scale. So it feels like rather than fighting, it might be I'm leading my unit of 10 soldiers. I'm leading like my unit of 10 rebels or 10 thieves on this in this area, rather than I'm here with my laser rifle. So we can scale up and down and have it as fairly large, like skirmish scale combat if we'd like. But we can work that out as we go. So what happens if you don't get it?
I think the corporation is going to run the city into the acidic depths until all of the profitability is gone.
Just like suck it dry.
Yeah.
I want something immediate.
Oh, okay.
I want like not necessarily like a ticking clock, but something which is like, here are the stakes, folks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, since we're outlaws, we're all facing some form of incarceration or trial or something, right?
Like you've all been arrested. You're all wanted by the law.
Yeah, like what I'm kind of imagining is because these are very closed locations, like you need to dock with something else to go anywhere else. I'm thinking that there's a sort of system of IDs, and our IDs have been flagged.
Right, yeah, okay.
I'm not necessarily talking like, RFID chips in your hands, but even like badges, numbers, whatever. But you need...
Our papers are not
Our
good.
papers are bad now. They have been marked.
Wanted.
Yes.
You can't operate as not like there's big sort of like grainy black and white screens displaying your faces.
Yeah. Enormous cathode ray wanted posters.
That's the stuff. That's what I'm after. I'm imagining like quite a grimy level of technology as well. It's all very functional. I'm imagining like a lot of hazmat suits, a lot of hazard warning, a lot of rust. But like it all does its job, but it's not slick and smooth and beautiful.
In my head, it's kind of a really dirty 50s.
Okay.
Like that kind of radium tube television.
Yeah, some retro future.
Yeah.
Fallout style.
Yeah, very
kind
Fallout
of, yes.
style feels
Yeah.
like, yeah.
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 I'm imagining like Fallout maybe crossed with Brazil, so it's got that level of mad intensity and warren.
Yeah, that's the corporation stuff coming into it, right?
But having, I like the idea that a lot of this technology is old and they're not entirely sure how it works, and so it's legacy technology, as it were, which is being strung together with broken parts.
But we can use that kind of that image. You know those images of like Blade Runner when they've got the enormous screens. Like imagine that, but it's a CRT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's this colossal CRT thing taking up so much room.
It's 400 boxes you can change to white or black.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you can hear the hum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's no wonder this island is sinking.
Yeah.
It's all just from these very heavy televisions.
Yeah. I'm going to call this CRT punk. Just gonna write that down. Right. Okay. So what happens if you don't get it is you'll be arrested, you'll be tracked down.
Yeah.
Like to imagine like that you've all done something bad. And so like now people are coming for you, which happily answers the next question for me. Well, it asks the next question. Who's in charge of the law around these parts?
It's got to be corporate security, right?
What are they like?
Yeah.
Fishmen?
I'm wondering if we go like the proper faceless corporation sort of style or robots.
I need an NPC.
Robots can talk.
I need at least 2 NPCs that I can put voices on.
Yeah.
So robots are in charge.
What if it's robots with a small contingent of like actual people that are
these sort of decrepit programmers.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. So like the robots have like a real basic like punch card level AI in them. Like they understand stuff. They can understand commands, like spoken commands and things. Yeah. But they're very like, their hands are those clampy claws. They're not like beautiful digits. And they move in packs with proper handlers. And then you get the best of both worlds. You get the robot and the nasty corporate goons.
I like that. And we've got like the dumb robots with programmers and handlers. And you've also got like, that gives you a wide variety of like power armor and stuff, which means I can put power armored enemies in the game, which gives me a lot of opportunities for power level, ironically. And also your cells if you want to have like robot equipment and things. I like that. That's fun. What are they called? Not cops, not Providence. What do you shout when they arrive? The bots are here.
Jesus, it's the fuzz.
Yeah, that sort of thing. The filth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they're rusty. You just call them the Rust.
The Rust.
Love it.
I quite like
I love
Rust is
it.
here.
Yeah.
The Rust. I don't know about this place. Smells rusty to me. Yeah, there we go.
And then there's like graffiti. You can't trust the Rust.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Now we need a T-shirt of that.
Who's the one person you can trust? So, like, obviously, there are a lot of normal folks living on this floating island and ship, but you are not friend to most of them. In fact, like you're worth more to sell out to the Rust than you are as friends. But who is the one person you can trust?
What if there's one of these robots who's built into part of the structure?
Yeah,
and he's like he was like one of the early prototypes, and they scaled back the AI after that.
Right, yeah. Oh, like sort of Clippy.
Yeah, kind of. But he got lost in like the bowels of the city, and then he's now running, like, for a better way of putting it, like the Thieves Guild.
He runs a bar.
Yes, but like he's mounted to it.
Yeah. Oh, I quite like that.
Oh, with like
the entire building is his sensory.
And I can imagine he's like on a overhead track that allows him to go only to certain places within the bar.
But I imagine there's like in separate rooms, there's still those tracks run through the doors, so you can send an arm off and go and get another bottle and reel it back in.
Yes.
Oh, all the bartenders are him.
Every single thing in there is just his arms doing other things.
Oh, that's really cool. Oh, what's his name? Jackie Bolts.
I don't know why I want him to be called Alfie.
Alfie, I like that, and I think it could be like a
augmented life form intellectual entity.
Yeah, it would stand for something. And actually, he was part of the For Life Corporation, part of the For Life model. But the F and the I were printed the wrong way around. So it looks like Alfie now. Yeah, okay, Alfie. And Alfie is the underground's worst kept secret, I like to think. And like the corporation tolerates his existence. Maybe they have a backdoor into his programming or something. But like he's not certainly not like the head of your outlaws, but a useful contact to have, like a fence.
Maybe he's just a tricky robot. Like they've destroyed him once, and he just restored himself from backups.
Oh, that's not.
Well, he's got so many different arms and things that I think that, like, unless you got every single part of him.
Yeah, like you can't get rid of him without burning the city to the ground. He's just annoying.
Alfie mastered the principle of distributed intelligence.
Yes.
So every arm is slightly Alfie, and they realize that the best thing to do is just let it get on with itself and hope it doesn't evolve.
Just hope it corrupts.
Rather than trying to fight it. Yeah. Then letting it break. Okay, I like that. That's fun.
I like that.
And then finally, who are we looking to screw over? So obviously Providence Inc.
Yep.
But I'd like to get an NPC or someone slightly more forward, someone more immediate.
Yeah, who's like the head person of this colony, or like the foreman here?
Oh, I like that it's run by this part is run by a foreman, not like the head of the corporation is somewhere else.
The head of the corporation is not going to show up in this game.
Well, they might do, but like on a screen.
That's the thing. Yes, sorry.
Certainly not down here in a hazmat suit.
The head of the corporation will be involved. The head of the corporation will be informed of the events of this campaign during their morning briefing.
Yes.
Depending on how well it goes. So, like a foreman, I like the idea of a foreman. I like the idea of like maybe someone who he makes the robots into really like canid, bestial, like strange hunting style things. So like he does his own modifications.
Oh, he could also be the programmer. Like he could be the person who coded Alfie.
Yeah, okay, that works. That's a nice idea. Yeah, okay. And his name?
I kind of have something like kind of Cockney sounding in my head, but fancy Cockney.
Vince. Vincent.
No, you see, I was thinking like Lycerin Groach.
Oh, Christopher, well done.
Thank you. I'm very good at names.
God, this is going to be a hard one to spell. As soon as I'm making it up. Lycerin Groach.
Groach is such a indicative name of the setting.
I can feel Lycerin's voice bubbling up in my throat. There we are.
Always, never seen without a bright yellow hard hat covered in blood and oil.
He's never washed his boy's boiler suit and overalls. His horrible manky boy.
Just slightly puffy face. I'm imagining, that sort of swollen human.
I imagine he's off his face on a wide variety of narcotics.
Just huffing light spirit.
Maybe he's drinking the Leviathan blood, like he's drinking jet fuel. Because it can work like unobtainium down there. It's fine.
It's always got a bag and huff and glue.
And this, what I'm rapidly realizing is just Dishonored.
There's an element of that.
There's an element of Dishonored in it, certainly, but we'll be fine. It's got rust in it, unlike Dishonored. What I'd like you to do now is note down your recovery powers. Your recovery power is your big heal. All you need to do is write down desperate measures. And because you are outlaws, when you make a recover action, instead of normal stamina recovery, you heal 15 and pick 1. Stamina is like, the best way to describe stamina is like the armor bar in Halo. If that helps anyone.
Yeah, they're temporary hit points that get blown off before you start discarding cards out of your deck, which is your actual health bar, as it were.
Yeah.
So you want to keep your stamina up. You can either make an immediate escape move as you run away without getting harmed, or mark the area you are currently occupying as dangerous 2 until the end of the battle as you set the room on fire. Both of these are good. Now we've done that, the next part is going to be a bit less individual. What you're going to do now is pick out some roles. So your roles are, as Chris was saying earlier, very close to your classes. There are 5 roles to pick from. You can play the same role as someone else if you'd like. That's absolutely fine. But I'm going to encourage you to pick separate ones unless you've got a really cool idea. So the roles that we have available are the Brawler, who's a frontline fighter, a glutton for punishment. The Deadeye, a long-range damage dealer, a glass cannon. The Protector, combat healer and support operative. The Striker, up-close damage dealer with a glass jaw. And the Warden, battlefield controller and tank.
It's one of the things I really like about making characters in this is that I keep on going, I could play a Brawler and do this. Or a tank and do this. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of different stuff you can mess about with, which is quite fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Ryan, you're going Protector, right?
I mean, I'm leaning towards it. I'm very much leaning towards Protector.
I mean, you do you.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking,
you know what you're about.
I'm tending towards Brawler at the moment.
Yeah.
How could we squeeze Magical Girl into the setting? Is that maybe crowbarring? And we should just develop a different character?
Maybe she could have a crowbar.
Okay. Chris, Brawler, right?
Yes, I'm thinking Brawler.
Okay. So yes, and Amelia?
I'm thinking Striker.
Solid. And Ryan?
I'll do Protector.
Solid. It's good to have someone in there who isn't just about harming things. Mm-hmm. So please take a look through at your character sheet. So the character pages you've got there. There's some rough ideas for concepts which might work. Or sort of give you inspiration. You'll need to note down your proficiencies, which make you better at those actions, and your stamina as well, which is how much stamina you start with, and therefore how much you can lose. So now you need to note down your boosts because we're not going to play a game with these characters. And then you choose 1 power from I think there's 4 or 5 powers for each class, for each role that you pick from.
Yeah, I think I've got myself a Brawler concept and power.
All right, talk me through it.
So I'm thinking a Brawler with, I like those odds, which means that when I'm outnumbered, when I'm surrounded, I actually get better at fighting. And I'm thinking the character himself is primarily a Vandal.
Okay. Oh, actually, sorry. I'm really sorry. We didn't answer the most important question. What is your crime?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I can rewind a little bit and do that now.
Yes, let's do that now. But we'll keep that in mind. So, what crime did you do? Is it the same as everyone? Did you all do the same crime? Did a job go disastrously wrong, or have you been all incarcerated for separate things?
I quite like the idea that we've all got our own personal crimes.
Okay.
But you know each other.
We know each other from the bar.
Yeah. Yes, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think my character was arrested for vandalism. Not just like, the odd tag, but like smashing...
Like punched through a wall.
Smashing screens, like extended anti-corp tagging, that sort of stuff.
Right, I see. So there's a level of artistry in it.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking like a brawler with two weapons, one with a weapon in each hand, a crowbar in one and a spray can in the other.
Oh man, I love the idea of a spray can as a weapon. That's super cool.
It's just like a hyper-violent Mark Echoes getting up.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Mark Echoes putting down.
Yes. The system. Ayo.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Amelia, what was your crime?
I think strategically taking out some of these robots.
Property damage.
Harsh. They're AI.
Well, that's the thing. Like the robots we've got are idiots.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The robots we've got now are fine to kill.
That's what they get for being RoboCops.
Yeah. Quite literal RoboCops. It's property damage. And is that like, is that for fun? Are you stealing the parts? Why robots?
Just because they're nuisances, and the fewer of them there are, the less likely for me to get caught doing other things.
Please, all of you play horrible, disagreeable people aside from Ryan.
I mean, that's just kind of how this goes, isn't it? Everyone is terrible, and then Ryan's like, I'm just here to help.
It's lovely.
And on that subject, Ryan, what was your crime?
So my crime,
was it loving too much?
My crime is technically in the system aiding and abetting, but literally it was saving an innocent person that was marked as a guilty person
cool.
from the rest.
Just top shelf, fantastic. I love that.
What a guy.
It's so good. It's so good.
Well, can I just say, I really have been enjoying this session 0. And I know, Amelia, you were absolutely right that this game is entirely my jam.
It was. Grant reached out to me and I was like, oh, this is Ryan. This is a Ryan game.
What do you mean? Collaborative world building, character creation, everything's wrapped into one, unique mechanics right away. Oh.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Unfortunately, the Kickstarter for this game is already done and over with, but we hope you don't mind us having fun with Grant and Chris again for Unbound. In the next episode, we get to finish our characters and the world, and we really go into a lot of interesting directions. Things get very crazy.
Yeah.
I will say that I know that as part of the Kickstarter, they were planning on funding some extra copies of this one, unlike their first one. So hopefully you'll be able to get it on their website at least. I do think you can get the PDF there now already. But the printed copy of the book, I think, will be on their website. As for calls to action this time around, go vote if you haven't yet. If you listened to the whole episode and then we're going to go vote, why? Hurry. You're running out of time.
There's so little time. I don't even know if this will be out in time.
Maybe you'll listen to it while you're in line at the polling place. I don't know.
That's very possible.
It's likely too late to do that since life has made getting this episode out into your ears a little bit difficult.
And you know what? If you are in line listening to this right now and it's past 8 p.m., you can stay in line. Stay in line. Vote. Do it.
We should move on with this call to action so that we can get this episode out so people have time to vote.
You know. All right, we'll do that. Well, another thing to keep in mind is to check out my live streamed campaign that begins the first actual play session on Friday, November 13th. I can't promise spooky stuff yet, foreshadowing, but I can promise it'll be a great time. We've got some voices from the A Horror Borealis podcast family and some fans from that community as my players. And we're ready to dive deep into my magical girl nonsense. I think we're fighting against capitalism or something.
Nice.
It's unclear right now, but we'll figure it out. So you can check that out at twitch.chimera.games. You can also check out the other campaign using Chimera on the Utopia channel at capeandblade.chimera.games. Both are phenomenal and both are worth checking out, in my opinion.
Speaking of cool things you can do, leaving reviews is near the top of the list of cool things to do.
Absolutely.
Right now, we are in need of them. We are currently all out of reviews to read, dear listeners.
No.
And we really need them right now. More than ever.
More than ever.
More than ever, we need them. If you want to help us out tremendously, please consider leaving a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, a little note on your kitchen counter that you then take a picture of and send to us on Twitter. However you want to do it. We love when you leave us a review. We like to read them on the air. It's our way of saying thank you directly to you. So you could head to the links in our show notes and please send us one.
Absolutely. With all of that out of the way, thanks for sticking with us during all of this. It means a lot to both of us. We will be back next week with more from Chris and Grant. Until then, take care of yourselves. Breathe, stretch every now and then, and try to take things easy. Until next time, have a good week, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for joining us for part 1 of this character creation series. We'll be back in part 2, picking up right where we left off.
Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter at CreationCast or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can be found in the show notes. If you'd like to leave us a rating or review, we have links to various review platforms out there, including Apple Podcasts, in our show notes. Also, check the show notes for links to our other projects. Thanks for joining us, and remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We will see you next time.
Now we gotta read some show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs. Character Creation Cast is hosted by the One Shot Podcast Network. If you enjoyed our show, visit oneshotpodcast.com, where you'll find other great shows like System Mastery.
System Mastery is a delightful stroll through the history of role-playing games. Except the games are terrible, and the hosts are real jerks about everything. Join hosts Jeff and John as they explore the weirdest games ever made to talk about what worked, what went wrong, and which Silverhawk was the best. It was hot, Wayne. Don't even add us. Find their shows at systemmasterypodcast.com or oneshotpodcast.com.
Finally,